What's a good name for a cocktail with Cynar in it? Hello and welcome to Intoxicated Masculinity. If it's Wednesday, we have a cocktail video coming at you. Today we're going to continue on with Brad Thomas Parsons and Amaro. This book we covered last week, going back to it this week. Again, as I said before, my friend Brandon, who is co-host on some of our discussion videos, one of his favorite liqueurs is Cynar, so we're going to include that. The cocktail has a very appropriate name, of course, the Cynara. I don't think they spent a tremendous amount of time coming up with that name, but that's fine. I think this cocktail has got a couple of elements that are going to be a little bit different from the cocktails that we normally make, which is sort of why I picked this one. The cocktail was created by Maggie Early at the Palace Kitchen in Seattle. Fairly new cocktail. Not a lot to say about the history, so I think maybe we should get on with making the cocktail and drinking it. Okay, we're back and we have some ingredients. The first thing you're going to notice that's different about normal is I don't have a mixing glass or a shaker. The reason is we are going to be building this directly in the glass. The second thing you'll notice is we have a very strangely colored ice cube in there. That's because this cocktail calls for a bittered ice cube and it is going to be built in the glass. So this is a normal ice cube, except there has been a certain degree, it said 7 dashes of bitters, I just dumped in a little bit, it's probably a little more than that, of bitters before the ice has solidified entirely. So this is going to be releasing bitterness into the cocktail a little bit as the ice cube melts. But I want to be a little bit quick on this one because it is going to start to melt fairly quickly. Okay, so we're going to first start off with our Aperol. And we are just going to do a half an ounce. I'm going to pour that right over that cube. Normally I don't pour spirits over cubes. In this case, a little bit of a different story because that is a bittered cube. And we kind of want that to melt a little bit. Next, we're going to use our beloved Cynar. Again, I'm using the Cynar 70. We're going to take a half an ounce of that. Toss that into the glass. And finally, this very specifically calls for Buffalo Trace Bourbon. So I went ahead and opened one up. I know this can be kind of a pain in the butt to find. I think it's getting, maybe getting a little bit better than it was, but you can pretty much substitute most bourbons, I think. And this is going to call for 1.5 ounces of our Buffalo Trace. All right. Now, we're going to go ahead and stir this a little bit. Again, we're stirring this right in the glass with the cube. So as this cube melts, it is going to add a little bit of dilution, which is fine, but it's also going to release some of those Angostura bitters that are contained in that cube. Just kind of keep your finger on that glass. This is a chilled glass, so the glass is already going to be a little bit chilled up. And we're going to finish off with orange twist. Go ahead and express that over the glass, rub it on the rim, drop it in, and there you have your appropriately named Cynara. Let's give it a taste. That's pretty good. The one thing that's going to be kind of striky about this one, since we did not mix this previously, and we could do that, I'm sort of doing this the way the recipe originally called for it. It's a little warmer than I would typically like a cocktail like this. It's not hot, or it's not room temperature. It is chilled down, but not quite as chilled down as I might like it. You have your cube in there, so it is going to continue to cool off. And while it is going to release dilution into the cocktail, it's also going to be releasing that bitterness, so you're not going to be it's not going to start to taste watered down as much as a normal cocktail in these cases. Overall, I feel like the flavors mix very well. In this case, our bourbon isn't getting lost. A lot of times, like if we were to do this with like a Boulevardier and to use a Buffalo Trace, I feel like it could get lost because your Campari is so strong. Our Aperol is bringing sweetness, and our Cynar isn't overpowering, so the flavors of the specific elements are able to kind of meld together pretty well. So I feel like it's a pretty well balanced cocktail. It obviously contains some bitterness, but this is not an overly bitter cocktail. I don't even think this is just for your sort of bitter cocktail savants. I think most normal people would enjoy this. because the Aperol is bringing enough sweetness to kind of, and obviously your bourbon's going to bring your sweetness too. So yeah, I think it's very well balanced. It's got a nice foundation. Your Cynara is kind of your foundation. That's that sort of bitter back end and kind of around the outsides. But again, not overpowering in any way. If you wanted to put this in a mixing glass first and then pour it over your bitter cube, you could do that. I think that the reason they did it this way is they very much want that cube to be melting and sort of developing the cocktail over time. So I suspect that if you try this cocktail in 5 minutes, or as you're drinking this cocktail over, 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, or however long you're drinking the cocktail for, it will evolve because it is releasing more Ango into the cocktail. Yeah, that's quite good. It's funny. The Cynara and the bourbon together give it kind of a woody note. That's very pleasant. Yeah, that's a very good cocktail. Anyway, on that bombshell, I want to thank everybody for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a good drink, and have a good day.